Hi, third grade Grizzlies. It's me, Miss Rebecca, the math coach. And today we're going to talk about what is temperature and how do we measure it. So, temperature helps us determine how hot or how cold something is. That could be the weather, that could be our body temperature, our food. There's lots of things that we need to know the temperature of. In math, we use many tools to measure things. If you want to know the time, you have a clock to measure time. If you want to know the length of something, you might use a ruler. Well, if we want to know the temperature, we use a tool called the thermometer. This is an example of a thermometer. The red liquid inside helps us tell if it's hot or cold. It tells us the temperature. Notice that the thermometer has two sides to it, one with an F and one with a C. So, what does that mean? Well, the F stands for Fahrenheit, and the C stands for Celsius. These are two different scales that different parts of the world use to measure temperature. Just like a lot of our rulers might include inches and centimeters, we have different scales for measuring the same thing. In the world, Fahrenheit is pretty much only used in the United States, although there are a couple little countries like Belize, for example, that do use it. Celsius by far is used by the majority. I'm from the United States, and so I actually prefer Fahrenheit because that's what I'm used to. But because I've lived in Guatemala for a long time, I've learned how to understand Celsius as well. When it's cold, no matter which scale you're using, the red line is lower. This thermometer is showing 0 degrees Celsius, and at the same time, it's showing 32 degrees Fahrenheit. These are both the temperatures when water freezes. Notice those little circles next to the numbers. That's the symbol we use in math. That means degrees. The way you would say the first one is 0 degrees Celsius. And the way you would say the second one is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really important to mention if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit because the scales are very different. If we just said 32 degrees, that would be very cold in Fahrenheit and pretty warm in Celsius. So we need to make sure we're clear. When it's hot, the red line gets higher. This thermometer is showing about 38 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's an example of a part of a thermometer that we can try to read. We have to look very carefully, just like on a ruler, at all the little lines in order to read them. How hot would you say this thermometer is reading? I think the line goes a little above the 70, so I'm going to say that that's about 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it's your turn to practice. Here are a couple more. Pause the video and take a look at these and see if you can figure out the temperature of each of these thermometers. So, how do you use temperature at home? Why is it useful? Time for a family interview. Find someone in your family and ask them the following questions. Do we have a thermometer in the house? And if so, what do we use it for? You might be surprised that you probably have more than one thermometer in the house. Go on a scavenger hunt with your family member to find the thermometers. When is knowing temperature useful? Couple hints in case your family member isn't sure. You can mention that when you're sick, you need to know the temperature of your body, or when you're cooking, you need to know the temperature of the oven, etc. What is the temperature outside? Go outside with your family member and figure out what the temperature is if you have a thermometer. If you don't, what other tools do you have that could help you with this? If you do have a thermometer, I want you to practice reading it in the morning, in the evening, and in different areas of the house. The best way to learn how to use a thermometer is to use it and practice using it a lot. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about temperature and reading thermometers. Have a wonderful day, Grizzlies.